Hello, I'm Zunko, also known as History Big Sis.
Hi, I'm Zundamon, the fairy.
In my last lecture, I spoke about the tragic reality of Ashigaru, foot soldiers on the battlefield.
That was nothing short of disastrous. Having said that, they were the main force on the battlefield, right?
Exactly. So, let's see if their fight paid off. Ashigaru able to rise in the ranks, despite their war success. On the battlefield, it is the foot soldiers who play the leading role in battle.
If even an Ashigaru takes credit, can he rise in the ranks like Toyotomi Hideyoshi?
That is difficult to say. First of all, the basis of a battle is the formation of each unit, which is called Sona A, readiness. Ashigaru are to fight in their own Sona A. However, since the Sona A is the unit of attack itself, the foot soldiers are not allowed to act arbitrarily. They are to firmly defend their posts and advance or retreat according to the orders of their commanders.
What happens to the foot soldier who does not keep his post?
If a foot soldier leaves his post without permission to strike the enemy, he is considered to be in violation of military regulations. Of course, he cannot complain even if he is punished.
It would seem that it would be forgivable if you could strike the enemy, but military regulations are very strict.
In addition, senior warriors, who are considered to be bounty heads, are far behind the enemy's lines, so it must be very difficult for them to get there. In comic books, it is often depicted that a lone soldier can defeat one shogun after another, but in reality, this is not a realistic scenario.
In reality, it is not that simple.
However, there is only one chance to take credit. It is the moment when the enemy is defeated and the allies are in pursuit. Since all the enemies are fleeing, there may be a general who is injured and unable to move.
If you are lucky enough to take him out there, the credit goes to you.
However, that never happens. There is always an unwritten rule that the credit of the subordinate belongs to the superior, and the credit of the foot soldier belongs to the master.
All the credit is meaningless if the boss takes it.
If you look back through the history of the Warring States period, you will notice that there were very few generals who came from a foot soldier background. Hideyoshi was really a rare case. It was only because his lord was Oda Nobunaga that Hideyoshi was able to rise in the ranks. But even so, there were cases where some generals honestly reported the credit given to them by their foot soldiers. In such cases, the Ashigaru were rewarded, and it was not a dream for them to rise to the top of their unit.
If you were blessed with a good boss, it is not a dream to be promoted.
The greatest reward for Ashigaru.
Wasn't there anything good about being an Ashigaru?
Well, Ashigaru were sent out like slaves to every battle and lived a hard life on the battlefield, but in fact, their greatest reward was the tacit approval of looting, or so-called Ranbo Udori.
Looting as a reward? That is so barbaric.
They would enter enemy territory and take away crops and household goods, and then kidnap women and children for human trafficking. However, looting itself had been rampant since the beginning of the Warring States period.
Is that so?
This was the period of the Little Ice Age, or a slight glacial period, and there were frequent major famines. And the poor people streamed into the cities and became exiles. Soon, they began to loot and social morals were as good as non-existent. In such an era, looting by foot soldiers was a common practice.
But it is better not to commit such barbaric acts against humanity.
If senior warriors forbade all looting, the foot soldiers, who had nothing to look forward to, would be demoralized, and their morale would be affected. Since not all foot soldiers could be paid or rewarded, it was necessary to respect their privileges in some way. That was looting. However, there were cases where excessive looting was forbidden. If an area was thoroughly destroyed, even in enemy territory, the land that had been acquired would not be able to be restored.
I see.
That is why they frequently issued prohibitions and admonished people for going too far. Gradually, even during the Warring States period, the number of feudal lords who forbade raiding increased.
So did the foot soldiers stop looting?
Nope. Samurai quit looting under the strict commandment. However, unlike the samurai, it was difficult to control the foot soldiers, and looting continued. In 1615, after defeating the Toyotomi forces in the summer battle of Osaka, the shogunate forces invaded the city of Osaka. Ashigaru attacked houses, murdering, looting, and kidnapping women and children.
I wonder if the Ashigaru never forgot the fun of looting.
Ashigaru who became samurai. In the reign of Oda Nobunaga and Toyotomi Hideyoshi, the separation of agricultural workers and soldiers was established. And these two feudal lords were famous for prohibiting looting. When Toyotomi Hideyoshi became the ruler of the country, he ordered a nationwide land survey and sword hunting, and established a policy that those who did not cultivate fields were to be excluded from farming villages. Ashigaru, who had been living in the countryside, were ordered to leave the countryside and serve the feudal lords.
Did they all decide to serve the lords?
Of course, if they did not like it, they could go back to their villages to farm. It can be said that they were given a choice between becoming warriors or farmers. Some remained in farming villages, while others decided to move to castle towns to serve the feudal lords. This change was probably the same throughout the country.
I wonder if becoming a samurai elevated one's status?
Even if you became a samurai, you were still an Ashigaru, the lowest of the low. During the Edo period, 1603 to 1867, as social position control progressed, the status of Ashigaru became lower and lower.
Being a samurai was not a good thing.
Although they were allowed to wear a sword, there were many restrictions such as wearing zori, straw sandals, instead of geta, wooden shoes, or prohibiting hakama, skirt-like pants, when going out.
There was a big difference in status among the samurai.
Ashigaru were not treated very well. They lived in the same tenements as the common people and ate the same simple food. If they tried to indulge in a little extravagance, their household budgets quickly went into the red. In Japanese movies and TV dramas, we see poor samurai doing odd jobs such as umbrella mending, but most of them were foot soldiers.
They must have had a hard time.
On the other hand, there were also Ashigaru who served the Tokugawa shoguns.
Were the foot soldiers who served the shoguns also of low status?
Although they were treated as direct vassals of the Tokugawa family, they were still of low rank. They held low-ranking positions, and their main job was to guard the city. Although these Tokugawa foot soldiers were of low status, they must have survived the Edo period with only their pride and determination to serve the shogun. So, today, I introduced the story of the tragic Ashigaru.
It was even more tragic than I had imagined.
They were the main players in the battles, yet they lived harsh days and found it difficult to rise in the ranks. Still, it was the story of many who desperately tried to survive. If you have any thoughts, please let me know in the comment section.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe for more.
Please hit the like button. See you soon.